The restaurant was silent except for the clinking of glasses when he walked in.
The billionaire CEO, whose face appeared on magazine covers and screens across the nation.
A man who carried arrogance like it was part of his suit. He ordered the finest steak with a voice that expected the world to bow. Across the table, the young waitress moved with quiet grace, her skin a shade he had once mocked in a speech that had gone viral for all the wrong reasons. She placed his plate down, her eyes steady, and slipped a folded note beneath the silver fork. He did not notice at first, too busy boasting to his guests. But when his fingers touched the paper, curiosity struck him cold. In that note lay a truth powerful enough to turn his smirk into silence, a secret that carried revenge, injustice, and a twist that would shatter his pride. He unfolded the paper with the same carelessness he gave to contracts worth millions. But what his eyes met was no ordinary message. The words were sharp, written in quick strokes, reminding him of a night he thought was buried forever. Years ago, when he was still climbing to power, he had mocked a struggling single mother in front of investors, laughing at her skin, her accent, her existence, never knowing her daughter had witnessed it all. That daughter now stood before him, not trembling, not begging, but serving him with the same calm smile that masked the storm behind her eyes. The note did not threaten him with violence. It did something far worse. It revealed knowledge of a scandal tied directly to his empire, a truth hidden carefully yet now trembling at the edge of exposure. In that moment, his hunger vanished, replaced by a choking silence. The billionaire's fingers shook slightly as he slipped the note under the table, his laughter forced now, his voice faltering as he tried to continue the story he had been telling. His guests noticed nothing, too busy enjoying the wine and praising his charm. But inside him, panic burned. He excused himself and walked toward the restroom, gripping the note like it was poison. Each word echoed in his head, words that tied him to land deals stolen from poor families, contracts signed through lies, and the silencing of workers whose voices had been erased with money. How could this waitress know? How could she possibly hold such a weapon against him? His mind clawed at answers. But when he returned to the table, she was still there, calm, her eyes never leaving his face. He sat, pretending strength, yet every bite of steak tasted like ash. When she came again to refill the glasses, she leaned just close enough for him to hear a whisper, one that froze his veins. "The world knows what you did. Tonight, you will see it unfold." He stared at her, unsure whether she was bluffing, until his phone buzzed with a storm of notifications. Headlines screamed across the screen, his company's corruption exposed, documents leaked, interviews of workers flooding every channel. The empire he had built on arrogance was cracking in real time, and the waitress who had once been powerless was now the face of his downfall. Every guest at the table began to notice his pale skin, his trembling hand, the way sweat gathered on his forehead. He tried to speak, but words failed. The waitress stood tall, her presence heavier than any courtroom, and for the first time in years, he felt smaller than the people he had trampled. His mind raced to deny, to threaten, to fight back, but the truth was already beyond his control. The note was not just a warning, it was a reminder. Power can be taken, but justice, once awakened, cannot be silenced. His pride, his wealth, his empire, all of it stood naked in the glare of exposure, and at the center of it stood the woman whose dignity he had once tried to erase. She had turned pain into power, and revenge into a reckoning. The night ended not with applause or praise for the man who thought himself untouchable, but with silence heavy enough to crush him. His guests, once eager to sit in his shadow, began leaving the table, each step a mark of betrayal against his collapsing pride. He remained seated, staring at the untouched steak that now mocked him with every passing second. Across the room, the waitress removed her apron, her job complete, not because she had served food, but because she had served justice. She walked away without looking back, knowing her message had already rewritten his future. The billionaire had built an empire by silencing others, but tonight a single note had silenced him forever. In the quiet aftermath, the truth lingered louder than his fortune, louder than his name, proving that even the mighty fall when the oppressed rise with courage. The hunter had become the prey,